Okay.
And we're live. Eleanor Rodriguez. How you doing?
Good.
Pretty exciting. Very first time on a podcast ever?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I shared this briefly, but this is kind of a mutual new excitement thing because this is our first episode in the new studio.
Yeah.
Very first time.
I'm super excited to see how this all goes down.
I promised myself I wasn't going to just ask every guest this, but because this is the first episode, like, what do you think? I mean,
the studio is amazing. I was expecting, I don't know what I was expecting. I was expecting like one microphone and then like maybe a headset, but like all the cameras all around, the lighting, just the decor,
Eli's little
all
nook.
the switches and knobs and everything. Like this is a full production. And I'm one of those people, I love learning new things that are completely out of my wheelhouse. And this was completely out of my wheelhouse. I've never built a podcast. I have no background in sound or cameras or technology or anything. This was a YouTube tutorial times 10 over the course of like 6 months to just learn how this all would work. Okay, so Eleanor Rodriguez. So I first found you from Instagram. I saw you just had this incredible proclivity for archery. I myself, I've always loved it. I've done it. It's the first day.
Did you spell the NOCO everywhere?
It's just right here. It's waterproof. It's okay. I made sure because he told me, he goes, "You want this thing waterproof?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm gonna knock some shit over." So you found your way to archery and you're doing it in a big way. Tell me about that. How did you first start? How did you get an interest for it, and where has it taken you?
So I first started at summer camp in Minnesota, and I just really enjoyed it. It was one of my favorite sports. It was that and sailing were my top 2 favorite sports at the summer camp.
Oh, interesting.
So I came back home and I was telling my parents about it. They're like, well, sailing's not going to happen. So second best option was to go down the road to the archery range. And so I kind of like, was flinging arrows just for fun. It was very like beginner. I did that for a couple years. It was more recreational level.
Sure.
And then I kind of started figuring out like where the competitive clubs were in the area, things like that. So I transferred over to Paseo Vista Archery Club, and from there I started doing competitions. A lot of the kids at the time, so I was still very beginner, but they were on like junior dream team.
How old were you when you first started?
I was like 12.
Wow.
Yeah, so first time picking up a bow I was like 12, and then I kind of started venturing into more competitive stuff around 15. And then, I kind of had a detour in my life. I focused a lot more on ballet. That's a whole nother thing that we'll be going into. And
I only learned that about you like 3 days ago, too, by the way. You're like, oh, yeah, I was a ballerina. I was like, what? And then I went back and exactly. And then I went back through like your IG. I'm like, oh, my gosh, she really was a ballerina. And did you do that competitively as well? I mean, did you ever coach it?
At a very high level, yes.
Yeah. Was it, can you say it's professional? I don't even know.
Yeah, so I was on a studio company for a year, and then I also qualified for the Geneva International Ballet Competition.
Wow.
Which is kind of like, I guess, Olympics of ballet.
Yeah.
In a way. And so I was the only American to qualify for the competition. Competed there in Portugal, which was actually about 5 years ago today.
Wow.
Did that. That was probably like the height of my ballet career.
How long was your ballet career?
From 3 years old all the way up until, when I did the competition about 5 years ago. And then now I just kind of do it more just for fun.
Wow.
Just to mix up my training, because now almost all the focus is on archery.
On the topic of training, before we pivot to archery, just because myself as sort of a sports scientist, what was the training that went with ballet? I've heard that it's quite rigorous and sometimes even abusive to the athletes.
Yeah. It's very different style. I mean,
Harsh. Similar to I did gymnastics and the same kind of problem, not problem, but that was sort of the dilemma sometimes with the athletes was, okay, you know, this is a 10, 11, 12-year-old kid. They wanted me to like pull out of school. They wanted me to 4, 5, 6 hours a day of training. And just what was that like for the, because my experience with ballet begins and ends with Black Swan. Like that's it. Okay. I know nothing about it.
Yeah.
What was the time commitment to that?
So when I was younger, you know, I just did a couple hours a day, maybe like 4 days a week. My mom was
still a lot.
Yeah, my mom wasn't gonna be like pulling me out of school and all that. And then I guess I ended up going and I got a associate's in fine arts dance. And then I transferred over to U of A once I got my associates, and I went to U of A School of Dance, which is second in the nation behind Juilliard.
Gotcha.
So very intense over there. And that's when like I really picked up time commitment to it, since I was studying dance over there. And then once I graduated from there, I then went on to do this ballet competition where I was training 8 hours a day, 6 days a week. And like you were saying,
wow.
I wouldn't
8
say...
hours a day, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Can you do anything for 8 hours a day, 6 days a week? Like even
probably not.
Like maybe
work. Sleep.
Yeah.
I'm really good at sleeping.
I was very different body shape at that point in my life. Like very skinny. Like I would eat all the time.
Flexibility is truly astounding.
I'd eat all the time, but like, you know, you can't keep weight on when you're dancing that much. But
look at the
like my ballet teachers.
It's such an impressive. I want to get into. I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, but it's so incredible what the human body is capable of. I mean, ballet is so. People don't realize how incredible it is to make your body do that.
Yeah, it's a whole life commitment to being able to do that at that level.
You're also, correct me if I'm wrong, are you tall for a ballerina? I always picture ballerinas as being maybe small.
No, they're actually pretty tall.
Are they usually tall?
Yeah, normally I would say around 5'6" to even like 6 foot.
Oh wow, yeah,
because they want like the really long lines and everything.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of very tall dancers. But yeah, with my teachers and stuff, I had some Chinese and then also Russian teachers, and their cultural norms are very different than our cultural norms.
Sure. So 8 hours a day, 6 days a week doesn't seem like anything to them.
Yeah, and like I wouldn't say it was abusive. I never gotten that experience. I've definitely heard of many dancers experiencing abuse.
Yeah.
But
maybe not, you know, when people hear abuse, maybe not literal abuse. And a lot of times when you say that, I mean, you can kind of do it to yourself. A lot of the athletes, they would never be like, oh, I'm not being abused. I do this to myself. But training, I can tell you, training 8 hours a day, 6 days a week, that's abusive to your body. That's not... almost all professional athletes, they don't do that. That's a lot of training.
Yeah, it's a lot of training, and I mean, they'll call you out in class. Like, they don't care. Like, they'll embarrass you in front of everyone. And like,
I gotcha.
You know, that's not always like fun, but in a way it is motivational. At least for me, like, you know, it pretty much got me to pull it together and like perform, you know.
There's always that balance between positive and negative reinforcement, and who responds better to which kind. I mean, everyone's different.
Yeah, so I mean, I was fine, but I know a lot of the other girls that like I would train with, you know, you'll later see them like a couple years later on like Facebook being like,
sure,
I went through all this, blah 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 blah, and I was like in the same classrooms as them.
Yeah.
I was okay, but like not everyone is.
Not everyone
okay
made it through that with the same perspective and the same experience. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can get that.
yeah, I guess
it's good you took it with, I mean, and you did school at the same time. You got a degree in fine arts or in something in that. I mean, you did school and 8 hours a day for. I mean,
oh no, so that was after I graduated. So I graduated from U of A.
Oh,
and then I went on to train for this ballet competition.
Oh,
did the competition. Then at that point, I was kind of in my life where I'm either going to start dancing professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Or I need to figure something else out. And
I
was kind
it's a lot of time to not turn it into a...
It's very little pay for the amount that you're putting your body through. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, you get injured. Sure, depending on the injury, they may help, you know, get you back to where you were, depending on the company.
Sure.
If it's a bad injury, later,
maybe not
you
so
know,
much.
Good luck finding another job.
And that's a big issue with not just ballet, but any athlete that takes their sport to that extent and is training for that amount of dedication. You know, what do you have to fall back on? Even if you are at the highest level, I saw a lot of this, you know, during my time at PEP. If I, you know, a lot of these athletes, they train and they get to the NFL, and obviously they've, you know, quote unquote made it. Yeah. But the problem with that kind of an athlete is, okay, yes, I'm making $4 million a year, but I'm also spending $3.5 million a year.
Yeah.
What do you have to fall back on when your body doesn't perform anymore? Because we all go through that. No matter what you're doing, eventually there's got to be a plan B.
Yeah. So that was kind of the motivation where I was like, I love this so much, but
I want to shoot a bow.
I want to shoot a bow. I want to do other things. And I was also starting to show interest in sports psychology. And I went
love sports psychology.
Back to school, got another degree in psychology at ASU.
You have 2 degrees?
Yes. So
nice. There we go.
At U of A, I got literacy, learning, and leadership, which is kind of like an education major, minor in dance, and then I got a degree in psychology from ASU. And
psychology as a whole, which obviously you translate kind of to sports psychology.
Yeah, and I was working on getting a minor in kinesiology, but of course the way they laid out the classes,
that was me.
It didn't work out for because I was only going to do 2 years because that's all I needed to get my bachelor's. So
yeah,
they screwed me over because I couldn't do all the classes. They were like, well, we only offer it on this semester, and then I was like, okay, so how are you supposed to graduate in 2 years?
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, if you wanted to because this is what I did. I was in the similar boat. I got to the end of my undergrad and I had a degree in sociology and I managed to squeak out my minor in kinesiology. But for a little bit, it was kind of like, it was a toss up. Like, which one do I want to major? Which one do I want to minor?
Yeah.
If you have a desire to kind of hone in on one item, just do grad school. Because 9 times out of 10, they won't care what your undergrad degree was. As long as you have an undergrad and you show promise through some kind of a GPA that meets the requirements, you can get grad school in anything. You can do kinesiology just right off the bat. Yeah,
so I actually ended up applying to some doctorate programs that you can get your master's along the way. And then I was at another pivotal point in my life where I was like, okay, grad school, or do I take archery to the next level? So here we are. Back to archery after I had finished school. Kind of found my passion with that. Like, I've always obviously loved archery, but
look at that.
I don't know. I feel like I grew closer to it now that like I kind of matured more as an adult. I don't know. Like, it was always kind of like a hobby. Like, it's fun. I'm kind of good at it until like really these last probably 2 years. Cause I graduated from ASU in December 2020.
Very cool.
And, it's been these last 2 years that I've taken it.
And is this, so now as it is today, is archery your full-time thing? Is that kind of that's your day job? That's your focus? This is the direction that it's all going?
That's the direction it's going. I still have other jobs that I do outside of it.
Gotcha.
I did actually just get an email on Tuesday that I got invited to the Olympic Training Center to try out to be a resident athlete.
Whoa.
So that would be freaking awesome because then my living expenses are covered, food's covered, any like gym, sports psychologists, trainers,
maybe
nutritionalists.
Maybe even school would be covered if you want to go back. I bet they. Yeah.
So we'll be trying out here October 24th. I'll be there for 3 weeks for my tryout.
And you mentioned it's where exactly? Did you mention Switzerland or did I mishear that?
So that's in Chula Vista, California. That's where the Olympic Training Center is for archery.
Okay.
And then I'll actually be going to Switzerland later on this year, pretty much right after I come back from my tryout.
Which is Worlds.
Which is World Archery Headquarters. And so I'll be training there for a month.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I love about what it is you're doing, just to kind of shift gears toward your presentation and your brand? Mm-hmm. You've created something that is, first off, it's such a miscellaneous task that just most people in general, I feel like, don't understand or take serious. That, archery in general is this, thousands of year old tradition that people have been doing. And it's sort of, some people have it as a hobby. And if they do, they certainly don't, they usually don't showcase it a bunch.
Yeah.
You've taken a very, very, it's also recurve archery, which I absolutely adore. I'm a total nerd for this stuff. I was dressing up like Legolas and shooting at targets as a kid. I've done archery my whole life, but to take it to this extent, you've got your schooling, you've got your sponsorships now, you've got your niche, and your online presentation is sort of where I'm going with this.
Yeah,
is very good.
Thanks.
And that's why it's a big reason why you're going to continue to grind and go higher. These companies are going to see this because you are, you're presenting yourself in a very, very athletic, very classy, very, very attractive manner on this platform. And all of your platforms. We're looking, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, and you said YouTube is coming. Is that the plan?
So that's the plan. I'm going to start filming stuff once I get the new iPhone. I just pre-ordered it.
I just got a notification. Is it just me? Did you get a notification at all from Apple saying that you can, I guess they just, the 14, is that what it is? The newest one came out or something?
Yeah.
I got something from Apple saying that, because I know we got our phones around the same time. Did you get an upgrade to where you can now change it out for the 14? Did that happen to you yet?
So are you talking about where you can basically turn in your phone and get the new one? No, I've not
yet.
That.
Okay, I just remember we bought them around the same time. Maybe it's just me, but anyway, what is that phone? I mean, do you know anything? Is it just a newer camera? I mean, is there
newer camera? I mean, I got iPhone XR over here. We need to upgrade if we're going to be making YouTube videos. So.
And you also have the Buc-ee's sticker on there. What's that about?
I love Buc-ee's.
What's Buc-ee's?
Okay, so Buc-ee's, let me set the stage. So Buc-ee's, if you're not from Texas, is one of the biggest and best gas stations in the world. I'm not kidding. I know
it sounds like a joke.
You poo-poo it, but it is like the size of a Walmart.
The best gas station,
dude. Yes. It's the cleanest bathrooms.
Yes,
correct. Yes. They have like a full barbecue in there. They're like making beef jerky. Like there's full meals. It's legit. So is
any
that why?
snack you could ever think of is there. It's just a full experience. It's
is it only Texas?
Oklahoma too, I think.
They just opened a few other ones up. Yeah.
Did they? Okay.
It seems like something Texas would jump on. Texas does everything right.
I know.
That's hysterical.
So it's anyway, a gas station.
It's a gas station. That's cool. Make sure you get that sticker on the new phone. But for YouTube, I can tell you, because you've got your short form and your long form content.
Yeah.
Your long form content and what it is that you are doing, because it is such a niche and because you have such a good presence on the screen.
Yeah.
You can educate and grow and expand. And I would even go so far as to say you can monetize and make your living just off YouTube.
That is the goal, because I'll tell you right now, archery is not something you go into if you're trying to make money.
No. You've done that twice in a row now, both ballet and archery, both cool.
Yeah, there's
not money makers.
There's no money in that, so that's why I have another job outside of it. But I'm praying I can become an RA, so resident athlete at the training center, because then all my expenses are pretty much paid for the most part. And then I do have other sources of income, like I social media manager for one of my sponsors now.
Yeah.
Coaching.
starting to make money off of like brand deals now. So
sponsorships will come.
I'm hoping with the YouTube that opens the door to
in a big way.
Yeah.
In a big way. It's a slow burn as far as growth, and he can attest to this. You'll see if you're consistent like everything else. And the cool thing is you've already got 2 really solid platforms to kind of base and build off of.
Yeah.
But you want to drive the traffic from those 2, especially from TikTok, to your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Again, your YouTube channel, that is what is actually going to make you money. Each one of these will act as funnels, as you know. TikTok being the biggest bandwidth, Instagram kind of a little bit, it's kind of in the middle.
Yeah.
But getting to YouTube, that's kind of the finish line, because that's where you can do your unedited long format. That's where this will go. You know, all of our everything we do as far as unboxings and reviews and podcast episodes, all that goes to YouTube.
Yeah.
Because eventually it will be a passive form of income that makes money on its own. And for something like this, again, what I love, and maybe you didn't even mean to touch on this, but you've done 2 things now in a row that are not, it's not like you're going into finance marketing. You're not doing something to make money. You're doing it because you love it.
Yeah.
It's a passion. And that comes out on there. When you are doing something that I tell everybody whenever this subject rolls around, never, ever, ever think about money. Money will come, money will go.
Yeah.
Don't think about it. Follow what it is you love. That way you don't ever clock into work.
Yeah.
Just don't.
I know. I cannot wait. I cannot tell you enough until I can quit this financial advising job.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. We just kind of brushed by that. You're a financial advisor? Are you,
Yes.
How did that happen?
I don't even know. I needed money, so I
You just,
applied to jobs.
Are you
got
just
the
good
job.
are you just good at math? Good with accounting? I mean, how does one become a financial advisor?
I mean, you just need a degree. I pick up quickly. I can do math. So
Wow. I know that's not, you can't wait to get rid of it, but that is, I mean, some people, that would be an incredible job for them to just kind of land in and just grow it on their, but I get it. That's not to me what makes what you're doing so interesting. I love that stuff. I love what you're doing.
yeah, and like, it's kind of wild that my account blew up because I would
What's
say
it at? What's her, go to the top, Eli.
like a year ago today,
yeah.
I think I had like 800 followers.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Any tactics you want to share for the episode? I mean, anything you did to help? I mean, that's 75. If you can't see on the screen, that's almost 76,000 followers, which is, and you didn't do any. You didn't pay for them. You didn't. Those are all organic. That's wow. Okay, how? That's something people would like to know.
Yeah. So I posted a reel because at that point I didn't even have a TikTok, and I tried figuring out TikTok at that time, and I was like, this is just too much right now. So I was like, Instagram made it a little bit simpler, so I posted a reel, maybe like 3 reels of just me shooting. And put some like music over it. I was just talking about what I'm doing like I normally did anyways. And next thing I know, I look at my phone and I gained like something like 5,000 followers. And at the time I was like, whoa.
From one reel?
It was maybe like 2 or 3.
That's in the span of less than a week. You posted these 3 reels or something like that.
Yeah. And I gained like 5,000 followers. I was like, whoa. Like maybe I just like hit the jackpot. Like it was just like a fluke, like one went viral type of thing. And then I was like, okay, well, whatever. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. So I started doing more reels of me shooting, just explaining like what I'm working on form, like, you know, I guess kind of my day, that sort of thing. And then, I don't know. It's just like more and more and more views. And like, I think the biggest jump I had, I like posted a reel or something, and then like what happened? Like I went camping for like 3 or 4 days, came back to like 25,000 more followers. It was just like insane. Like I don't know.
So this happened for you very fast. Because that's not the typical story. Even for like even for attractive female influencers, that's
Yeah.
not normal to hit
Yeah.
25,000 followers over a weekend. That's very rare, especially
Yeah.
on IG. We've had a couple on TikTok that have gone viral, and we've had those kinds of numbers.
Yeah.
But on Instagram, because it's so saturated, it's just
Yeah.
not all that common. I love that. So you and I want to talk about what kind of training you do now as well.
Yes.
I mean, what sort of activities do you do training wise? I browsed through this prior to this, but where do you train? What do you do? How do you stay in the shape that you're in?
So I've always been very active. So I had the ballet going for me for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, obviously I'm not spending all those hours
8
dancing
hours
anymore.
a day, 6 days a week.
I really love lifting, and my goal was just to gain overall muscle because, like I said, I had a very different body shape about like 4 years ago, even like not even close to what I am now. And I just wanted to gain some muscle, just be more shapely, like more substance to me. And I started lifting. I really, really love lifting.
How long has this your journey toward bodybuilding, toward lifting heavy? How long have you been doing that now?
I'd say I've always gone to the gym, but like actually trying to get bigger. Maybe the last like 4 or 5 years.
Nice.
I've been trying to get bigger. And so that's mainly what I do for fitness is the lifting. I do like hiking. I don't do it all the time.
You ever do camelback?
Yeah, I've done it.
Oh,
yeah.
I love it.
I do love hiking. I'll still do ballet classes here and there. I like doing hot yoga classes.
You're the same person. Where do you do hot yoga?
What is it? Yoga University or University something?
You get Yoga University. I go to Yoga Spot off of Valvista and Elliott.
Okay,
that's too funny. Yeah,
so,
it's great.
I don't know. I do a bunch of different things.
So you do hot yoga. How many days a week do you lift in the gym?
I try to do minimum 4 days.
Okay, solid. And then you do hiking. How many times a week? Maybe once every week, every other week?
Oh no, that's probably when it's cooler. Maybe like every other week.
When it's cooler, no. Get out there in the heat, man. Get those heat shock proteins. I love that.
I'm out in the heat every day shooting.
That's
I
fair.
get enough.
She has a good point.
I get enough heat.
That's a good. Yeah. Where do you shoot, by the way?
Paseo Vista.
Why do I not know where that is?
It's like.
How far is it from here? I mean, is it
15 minutes?
15 minutes? Okay. Yeah. I gotta go. We gotta go out there sometime. Like I would love. Does the range? They don't care what kind of bow you use. Like you could bring a compound, you could bring a recurve. It doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter at all.
You just can't shoot broadheads.
Broadheads.
Or if you do shoot broadheads, you just have to bring your own target. They don't want you messing.
Makes sense.
But,
ruining the target over time.
Yep.
No, my brother and I used to go to Usury and do that active shooter course for the archery. You ever seen that?
Yeah.
Where they'll have those animals kind of in the positions and you shoot at them. It's really good practice anytime we go hunting. And actually, our dad has a shooting range with. I don't know if you've ever seen this. It's a game. It's a screen with those special flat tips.
Yeah.
Have you ever played that before?
I've never done it, but I've seen them. Yeah.
You gotta come do it. You will love it. I mean, it's hard when it's a moving target because that's the thing. It's like it's an actual footage someone shot with a camera of like a deer or an elk, just kind of walking across the screen, and maybe it'll stop to graze for a second, but then it'll once the window goes, like you got to be able to kind of hit a moving target. It's great practice for that.
That would be really fun. I've never gone hunting.
I was gonna ask that. I mean, have you ever tried to practically?
I want to. I gotta buy a whole different bow setup. It's compound. I shoot recurve.
You can hunt with a recurve.
Yeah. This is a lot to haul around, though.
Maybe just not with the counterbalance. Is that what it's called? The
stabilizers.
Stabilizers.
Yeah.
Maybe can you shoot it proficiently without the stabilizers? I mean, is that?
Yeah.
Then you're good.
Yeah.
I've seen people hunt with those before. I honestly, I thought about getting one. I went too extreme. I did an open-sighted longbow, and it was a really nice one.
Yeah.
But after I'm like, okay, I'm okay with it, but I don't trust myself to go hunting with it. If I misshoot or misfire, I don't want to have to deal with the consequences of that. So I didn't do it. I just stuck with the compound.
Yeah.
But that is a nice in-between step. You've got a sight.
This would be a nice in-between.
Let's see it. Can you actually show it to me? I mean, kind of talk about what it's made of.
So, do you want me to pick it up? Or like
Sure. Yeah. Just kind of take it into Eli. You tell me because you see the camera. Can you see her frame from where she's got it right now?
Yes, most of it.
Okay. Maybe direct her. Tell her if you want her to do it in a different way. Because I mean, I can see it great.
So if you take it this way a little bit,
Here.
honestly, that may be the best we're gonna get.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's take it from there. Perfectly fine.
Okay. So, yeah, this is an Olympic recurve style bow. They also, it can be a bare bow, so if that just means you strip off pretty much all the extra gadgets on it, and it would be considered a bare bow.
Gotcha.
Still a recurve though. So, God,
Are they all pink?
They're not all pink.
Yours is pink. That's not an accident either.
No.
It's very pretty.
Yeah, I figured because a lot of the archery equipment isn't very girly,
No.
and I'm a little girly girl.
You're
so.
you're keeping it very, and that's again, that's why it's a big reason why this is accepting you in such a big way.
Yeah,
you're making it because I mean anybody could see some big fat guy out there shooting a bow. I mean there aren't a million of those already, but this is you. I get it. Keep going.
It's a whole different world with target bows. So I got pink just because it kind of stands out when I'm out shooting.
Nice.
A lot of the other archers will do like red, white, and blue, or black
or camo or something like that.
Yeah.
What kind of stabilizer do you use?
I shoot ramrods, so I'm sponsored by them. Absolutely love them though. I love their product before I was even sponsored by them.
Yeah. Aren't those the best sponsors? The ones that you're like, okay, I'm going to use this whether you sponsor me or not.
Yeah.
So please sponsor me.
Exactly. And like, especially, when you're competing at this level, you want to be confident in your equipment.
Mm-hmm.
And so I would never take a sponsor if like I hated their product. Cause like, then I'm going to shoot like crap. If I shoot like crap, then I'm not going to have any sponsors.
Yeah.
So, that's,
oh yeah,
that's the only way to do it is 100%. To have products that you actually enjoy and like. So
when you say ramrods, that's the arrows? Those are the arrows?
No.
Or,
that's the stabilizers.
That's the stabilizers.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they make these stabilizers, weights and everything. So these are all tungsten dampening. This is like the best that you can get for stabilizers.
Got it.
So what it's called, it stabilizes the shot. Because the body's always moving. You're never actually steady. People want to think like, oh, like I don't want to be moving at all during my shot. That is like the worst thing you could think of when you're shooting. Like your body is always moving, and you always want to be in motion in your shot cycle. You're never like just sitting there, just stagnant. It's always you're expanding. That's what we call it. So once you get to your anchor point, which is when you draw back that string all the way, you're expanding all the way through your follow through at the end of the shot. So you're never just sitting there not doing anything.
Yeah.
Like you're always being engaged in your shot. And it helps with wind and things like that.
Right.
So
yeah.
you're not moving
I'm sure
around as
it
much.
makes would you say it makes a big difference having the stabilizers? I mean, is it like it's a huge difference?
I mean, that's kind of one of the main things from bare bow shooters to.
Do they have bare bow competitions versus stabilizer competitions?
So it's just a separate division.
Got it. But there are other divisions, like if someone wanted to shoot without it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Got it.
We have bare bow divisions, we have Olympic recurve division, and then we have compound.
Because I could see the appeal to the bare bow thing. I could, because if I'm a hunter, I'm like, okay, I don't hunt with this on. I shouldn't then compete with this on. Like if I were to do that, that would probably be the approach I would want to take. Like I would want to be the best bare bow shooter in the world. Yeah. Just for me.
Mm-hmm. So we have different divisions. But yeah, this is one of the main factors that changes things up.
And the sight?
Yep. So here's my sight. I have a open ring sight, so you probably can't really see it here. It's just a hole. So there's no fiber optic in it. So I don't actually have like a pin that I'm putting on the middle or anything.
Is it like a compound where you have a hole in the string and a hole? No?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so
it's... Yeah, so with compound, you're looking through the string essentially and lining it up. So it's almost like two sights.
Yes.
This one, you just have the one. How we know that what we call our anchor point is correct, that's when we pull the string all the way back, is it's touching the tip of our nose.
Okay.
So we know that we're coming back to the same spot every single time. With Olympic recurve style, so unlike compound, we're not allowed to have any magnification in there. So
gotcha.
We
so
have
you don't have the bead and the sight. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So personally, I don't like shooting with the fiber optic. I just like open ring, because then when you have the pin in there, that
how do you change range? Because a lot of times with the compound, you'll have, for those of you guys who don't know, when you have a compound and you have a sight, you'll have maybe 4 or 5 different pins. You got 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards, 50, and then you look through your sight, match up the pin, and put the pin on the target.
Yeah, so there's these, switch it from going up and down.
Up and down.
This will go left and right. But we are only shooting one distance in a tournament. So we're shooting
what is it? What's
70 meters. So about 77 yards.
You shoot at 77 yards?
Yeah.
That's a long shot.
Yeah. So
especially for 77 yards. My gosh, that's really long.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. Is that across the board? All the competitions are at that?
That's what they do in the Olympics. That's what we do for all of our outdoor tournaments. Now we do have an indoor season, which is a bit different. It doesn't go towards our national ranking. They don't do it in the Olympics, but it's still fun. We like to do it on the off season. So that's 18 meters.
Which is like, is that 25 yards? Something like that?
No, like 20 yards.
20 yards?
About.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's just a much smaller target. So like the gold, probably the size of a quarter.
Wow. And how do you have any posts of maybe your groupings or something? I mean, at 77 yards, how close? Gosh. I mean, that target right there is decent.
So the big one, that's like what we shoot outdoors. But yeah, this is just blank bail practice. So what we do for blank bail is just we shoot at the target and it's just super close up, but it's just so we focus on form. We're not focusing on where the arrow's going.
Indoors, obviously.
Yeah. We're not focusing on where the arrow's going. It's just so we can focus on our form. So when it's really close up, you're not going to miss it.
Right.
And it just allows you to reflect on making your form corrections and everything. So I do a lot of that. A lot of archers do a lot of blank bail because it's all about form. If you do the form, the arrow's going to go where it's supposed to go.
There you go. There's a good picture of the grouping.
Yep.
Is that at 77 yards? Go back, bud.
Mm-hmm.
Right there, the target.
Yeah.
This one? No, the one with all the arrows sticking out, right there.
Yep. So that's
at 77 yards.
Yeah.
Wow. How many arrows do you get in competition? I mean, how many shots does each player take?
So for competition, typically first day is going to be check-in day, equipment inspection, that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. Second day, we do qualification day. And so we have a couple ends of practice, and then we go into scoring. So we have 72 arrows that we score. And
over how many days?
1 day.
1 day. So you shoot 72 shots in 1 day.
Yeah, so we have practice, and then we go into the 72 shots that are scored. And so you shoot 6 arrows at a time, do that 12 times. Max you can get is 720 score. And then what that does is everyone's now ranked from first place through last. Mm-hmm. And then we go the next day into elimination day. And so this is like where it's all at is elimination day, because what they'll do is sandwich the top, what is it? Top 72 archers.
Okay. Jeez, how many will there be? I mean, total. How many archers?
Depends on the tournament. More like world ranking events, you're going to have more than 72. You might have like 150 or something like that.
Wow.
National tournaments, I would say for at least my division with female Olympic recurve style shooting, we may not even have the full 72. Sometimes, like on an Olympic year, we'll have the full 72 or more than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, what they'll do for elimination days, they sandwich pretty much all the competitors in half. So first place is going against last place. Mm-hmm. Second place is going second to last. Third from last.
Gotcha. Yeah.
All the way through. And then what we do for that is we shoot 3 arrows at a time. So whoever I'm matched against, I shoot 3 arrows, they shoot 3 arrows. Max you can get is 30 points for that end. So if I walk down there, let's say I shot a 28.
Yeah.
Let's say they shot a 27.
Uh-huh.
I won that end.
A higher score wins, obviously. If it's
And so I get 2 points.
Okay.
And then we go do it again. Let's say we tie this time. So we each shot a 27 score.
Uh-huh.
Now we get 1 point each. So now we're 3-1.
Okay.
And so we do this, and it's, it's nice because the underdog can really come back, because the last 3 arrows don't even matter. It's just these 3 arrows that you're shooting right now.
Okay.
So if you lost the last one, you just shot crap shots. It doesn't matter because you can still get the 2 points on this new end that you're doing. So that's the nice thing about it. And it's kind of anyone's game. And sometimes you'll see some of these top archers just get knocked out because they just shot a few bad ends, and then the other person just happened to luck
Came
out.
up and got him from behind, yeah.
Yeah, and...
so how long... I mean, is there a... Hey, you first one to 100 wins, or is it just... Oh,
so it's whoever hits 6 points first.
Oh,
and
okay.
And then you win that end, and then now they limit it down to...
And then it's single elimination. Your opponent is out.
Yep, and so now it's 32 people.
And you just keep chopping it. I get it. Okay. And then eventually you come down to 2.
Yep.
And how many... I mean, have you won tournaments like that? How many...
Yeah, so I've won them at, like, state level, national level, not quite there. With this sport, people don't ever age out.
Yeah. Makes sense.
We have many, many Olympians that are competing at all these national tournaments.
Yeah.
Because they just never age out. So it's a tough sport because you got all the new archers that are, very good. And then you also have all these Olympians with tons of experience.
Yeah.
And you're all throwing in, as long as you're for my age division, it's open division. So
any age range archer can compete against you as long as they're female recurve.
Yeah. So you go into this kind of like adult senior division. You have to switch out of what we call JOAD, which is for the kids.
Sure.
I think it's the year you turn 21. So everyone's in this division, no matter what your level is.
So you could compete against a 55-year-old who's had 30 years of experience.
Oh yeah, all the
your
time.
Your first year.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's not like ballet where it's like, okay, a 55-year-old could never compete with you in ballet.
Yeah.
They could compete with you in this because this is...
Yes. And so I've shot against Katuna a couple times. So she's, 4-time Olympian.
I was going to say, who's the most famous female archer in the world?
I don't know. That's hard
I
to
don't
say.
know either.
It's hard to say. The Koreans, they got the archery down. It's their national sport, so it's
pull that up. Let's see if you're most famous
female, maybe recurve archer.
You know what? There may be something because the settings on that iPad, bud, have something weird with the search engine. It may not pull up, or it might. We'll see.
Yeah. So, and it's famous. It's that's relative.
Yeah, it's not gonna pull
did
up.
you win Olympic gold medal
We'll
famous, or is it famous
To be honest with you,
social presence? Because I mean, I'll say too, I mean,
are you probably one of the? You're probably one of the top names. I can't imagine.
Yeah, I think I can only think of maybe 2 other archers that have more followers than me, which is so weird. So even Brady Ellingson, so he is our #1 male recurve archer. He's been the top in the world for many years, and I have literally double the followers that he does. Why? I'm Brady. Come on.
I mean, you've got what we like to call in the business. You've got the X factor. You know, if you are an attractive female and you're excelling in your area next to a guy, odds are social media, and that's not but it will accept you. It just will. It's the X factor. There's nothing, and it's outstanding that you you really have something special going on here.
Yeah,
Seriously,
I'm riding the wave. Don't know
Keep
how
going.
long. I don't know how long it'll last, but
it'll last a while. Like you said, you're never going to age out, and if you stay,
Yeah.
Stay with the gym.
Yeah.
The way that I'm thinking about it, you could create programs. You could create teaching modules based on archery. You and I could collab and make an archery specific training program.
I've been
Make
wanting
something.
to do something like that. So.
That is.
That's a golden ticket idea.
That's
right
a
there.
that's a
know.
NASA to the moon golden ticket idea right there.
I know. So I'm thinking like I'll launch the YouTube, kind of like get that rolling,
Mm-hmm.
and then we could work on the project way before even launching it.
You start
but like
working on the project now.
I do want to build the YouTube up a bit, and then
You
eventually
wouldn't
launch.
need. Build the YouTube up. But what I'm talking about is, you could create a Vimeo channel and create, specific playlists per program. Charge your subscription, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
And create like 6 or 7 different programs with different tasks. Like, okay, this is specifically on cleaning and maintaining your gear, and that's what this playlist is. This is a 6 video long playlist, and it costs you $20 to see. That's nothing. This is a strength and conditioning protocol over the next 90 days, specifically geared toward pre-warm-up, shooting, strength and conditioning you do during the off-season, strength and conditioning. I'm just thinking about all this now. You could do a strength and conditioning periodization module based on is there a season for archery? Is there like it's competition season, off-season?
Yeah, so it is all year long. So like I said, we have our outdoor season, and then when we're not doing outdoor season, which is like when we get ranked and everything, we go into indoor season.
Perfect.
So that's kind of like our off season, but we're still competing.
Regardless, you could create something. We could come up with something that works with the schedule that the archers will have.
100%. I get asked about like fitness stuff all the time because all you know right now, archery is not an athletic sport really. Like we have very specific muscles that we're using.
It's very one-dimensional. You're doing the same thing. Like golf.
Yeah.
You're doing the same thing over and over and over
so it's like
again.
you're athletic in that sense of the sport, but like I'm talking about just being an overall athlete, like outside of just being an archer.
I've seen the archers,
There's a difference between an archer and an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the main reason I got invited to try out to be a resident athlete at the Olympic Training Center is because they're all phenomenal archers. Amazing.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be there.
They don't
if they
all
were.
look like.
But they don't train like an athlete. They train like an archer.
Right.
Which is very different.
It's an activity, not an athletic event.
Yes.
Type of thing.
Yeah.
It certainly carries with it a certain degree of hand-eye coordination and stability, and all of that kind of stuff definitely plays into it. But you're right. You're not expending any quick twitch muscle fibers. You're not burning that many calories. You don't have to you could shift your gut to the side and figure it out from there if you wanted to be that person. And that's why I've found that there are kind of 2 different types of people that hunt.
Yeah.
You'll see some of these guys out there that are hunting, and they're 300-400 pounds. They need a guide. They can't barely walk. They're totally out of shape, and they'll bag the biggest buck in the whole wood. And you're like, okay, well, all right, there goes a hunter. He's really helping us out. And then you'll see, there are other guys, like our brother is big into this. Usually the guides. Those are the guys that, hike the trails. They train. They do all the real heavy lifting, no pun intended, to look at least like they know what they're doing. So no, that's and again, I think what you have done, Eleanor, and how you've kind of cracked the code on how to create a business from what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whether archery ever pays you a dime outside of sponsorships, that really won't matter for you.
Yeah.
You'll figure out a way to capitalize on your brand, which is you.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing we harp on whenever we do seminars and we talk about social media platforms and how it doesn't discriminate. So your brand is you.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to convey that to people who aren't comfortable with that. There's a lot of people that are like, no, I don't like that. I'm not really comfortable with the idea of me being my own brand. I need to be on someone else's brand.
Yeah.
That way of thinking is somewhat flawed. If you look at yourself as your own entity, this translates to anything. You could be a underwater basket weaver and be the best in the world if you have a way to capitalize on your brand.
Yeah.
You have figured out a way to do that with something that a lot of people have no experience with, no knowledge of, but they'd really like to watch you do it.
Yeah.
And that's
definitely.
great.
It's pretty wild. Really wasn't expecting my account to blow up like that.
It's still doing good. We're gonna just wait till this comes out. This is gonna be great.
I know. And like all the extra projects that we could potentially work on.
I'm excited. I'm thinking about it now.
I think it'll be good.
I think it's a great idea. I think this has actually a really, really yeah. We'll talk when this ends. So Eleanor, thank you so much for coming on. That was a blast. Where can people find you? Where would they go to see your social media, to see your stuff? Where can they find you?
Sporty Eleanor.
Sporty Eleanor across the board. That's TikTok. That's Instagram.
And will probably be my future YouTube too.
Sporty Eleanor. There's a correct me if I'm wrong.
There's an underscore.
There's an underscore.
Underscore.
So Sporty underscore Eleanor.
Eleanor. Mm-hmm.
Such a cool name.
Thanks.
Great. Well, thank you so much for coming on. It was a blast.
Thank you.